Yes, T.Real Beats back on your screens to make some banging beats. So in this video, I'm going to keep it brief. I'm just going to show you a little beat breakdown that I did on the style of like Jack Harlow, G-Eazy, something like a club type beat, and show you kind of like how I came up with some of the melodies, how I laid it down, just show you my thought process behind it. So if you're liking the content, consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so YouTube tells you when I release another gem. So I'm not going to waste no more time. Let's get straight into the video. Come on, let's go. And as you can see here, I've got a few banks here, and the first one here, I've got a Synth Master 1, not 2, 1. You know, I like both of them. I find that Synth Master 1 has some hidden gems in there still, so I wouldn't sleep on it. So for the preset that I used in this one, I used the Key Imagination preset. So for most of these Jack Harlow and G-Eazy type beats, it's kind of like rap. So anywhere between 95 to 105 BPM. So the first bit, just started off with 2 chords, a little fiddling note just found about here and here. Then I went up 5 semitones, and you can see I did the exact same with the actual fiddle notes here. So for this one, I went low, up, then down. And for the second one, I went low, up and down. So for filler notes, you can just play it by ear. You can either go up, then come down, or do a descending kind of like note drop. So you can play around with kind of like those little variations there. So I'm gonna just play this one here and see what it sounds like. So for the effects that I got on this one here, so I added in a stock EQ. So basically it's like a bandpass, just cutting out some of the lows and cutting off some of the highs, and you don't want to muddy up the mix. This is why you most likely see kind of like a band EQ, just to kind of shape it a bit and just keep the quality of the sound that you want. And I added in a classic flux mini. So if you hear that tremolo effect, this is the flux mini, and this is on the quarter bar sync timing. I added in a stock reverb just to give it a little bit of like reflections, a little bit of character within the beat as well, and also just kind of spread it out a bit. And so for the second part, I just added a little kind of complementary sound. So what's really good is that when you find chords that you do, it's good to find just maybe a one shot or a note that just complements the sound. So I've got this one here, which is part of the one shot packs that I'm working on, and this one is kind of like an ambient key or kind of like bell pluck. So this is what it sounds like. Let me play it with the actual first melody. So one shots, as you know, they're kind of like, they've been around for ages, but I find these to be a lot more efficient, especially on CPU, and just coming up with some unique sounds that, you know, you can play around with. So as you can see, I just started off with the root note, which was the E, and then I played a fiddling note just right here on the G, and then I went up the 5th to the A, and then I went back up to the E as well. So you always find that you start on a root note, you either go up a couple of semitones, a 3rd or a 5th, and then you go back to the root note again. And if you're struggling to make up melodies, a really good tip is when you start with a chord, use the notes within the chord. For the third synth is another Synth Master 1. Don't sleep on the Synth Master 1. For the preset I used on this one is Frozen Walks. I used the exact same MIDI as I did with the first Synth Master 1. I just use that same MIDI and put it in a different preset. So it's kind of like layering and complementing the sounds that you're already working with. So let's see what this sounds like. So for the effects that I did on the one shot, so I did a single value filter. So this kind of just, it's the same as kind of like a band EQ. With this single value filter, I feel like it cuts a bit more so than the band EQ. Could be doing the same thing, but I feel like it does a little something more. Let's play those 3 parts all together. So for this part here, I added in a house mark. This has got all your classic electronic pianos, those kind of soft sounds, soft pianos. And for this one here, it could be the exact same MIDI. Again, layering, and it's really down to sound selection. So I really encourage you to play around and just listen to different sounds that complement each other. So let's have a listen to see what this sounds like by itself. Does this sound a bit West Coasty? Some Snoop Dogg kind of music. These three sounds are the exact same MIDI. Let's listen to it all together. And what I like to do is, even though it's the same MIDI, sometimes you don't have too many layers. You know, you can take bits and parts away or add it in within the actual beat. Let's just play these first two parts. And the other part. I added in a little guitar kind of rhythm to go in the background. So let's listen to that by itself. So for this part here, I just started off with the root. Same thing, you know, going up 3 semitones, 1, 2, 3, messing around with the semitones and going up the 5th. And just for the top end here, I just did a normal E minor chord. Start with a root note, up 3 semitones, then up 4. So the last part was just the piano at the end of kind of like each kind of 2 bars, just to give it a little bit of a variation. So let's listen to that. Then up again. So it's literally the same chord, and this is basically a 7th chord, but just arpeggiated downwards. And so it's the same one here. So I started off with the G and arpeggiated that downwards. For the effects, reverb in that. Let's turn up the wetness just a little bit more. So in the reverbs, I only add about 15% wetness. So basically you don't want too much reverb, so then it will sound a bit too airy and it just muddy up the mix. So you can just dial it into where you feel like it's the right level. So I'm just going to play each section and kind of add them all in so you can just hear the loop playing. Guitars. Piano. So let's start off with some drums.
Keep stirring the sauce.
So I started off with just a simple clap. And then a little roll clap. Classic DJ Mustard roll clap. Then I added in some hi-hats and kind of like a 2-step bounce. Just some other accents to add in as well. Just some filling and snares and some perks. Some more hi-hats. By the way, all the hi-hats, all the perks, all the snares, claps, they're all in my drum kit. Link in the description. Let's start off with an open hat here. And then a re-space. So as you can see here, the re-space, same thing, following that same chord. So from the E to the G, and then to the 5th A, and then back up again. So here I added in some kicks as well. And I think what really gives this beat the bounce is the 808. So this 808, I've been working on a few, and with the club type beats and the Jack Harlow G-Easy type beats and sounds, I have kind of like a saturated or distorted 808. I had 3 here that I've been working on, playing around with the saturation, exporting it, putting a bit more saturation, adding the drums.lot plugin processor into it as well. So really just coming up with my own kind of like drum sounds with a bit of variation. So I've picked between this one, it's just got a nice bounce. That one's nice, but it's just a little bit long. And then it's this one. let's just hear what it sounds like. So as you can see, for the drum pattern, I just used the root note and I went down 5 semitones. It's still all within the scale. Went down 5 semitones with the boom boom. And then went back up to the A, which was the 5th that I started off with my chord progression. And this went up to the C, which is another note within this scale. So this extra pattern here is kind of some fillering kicks, that's what I call it. And these just give it a nice little bounce, a little bit of a stutter, and just kind of this keeps it jumpy. So let's play that all together. So I can definitely hear the likes of Jack Harlow or G-Eazy on that one there. So just a nice little beat breakdown, do something different. Hopefully there's some source that you can take away from it. And if there's any other type beats that you want me to do, you know, let me know in the comments, because I really enjoy making these beats. So I'm just going to arrange the rest of the beat, let it play out at the end, get ready for the next beat cook up. Peace.